very likely to make a return if they ever decide to add more characters. He's just so beloved by pretty much every Mario Kart fan that Nintendo would have to be stupid to not bring him back. In fact, I think he might be the most likely character, because if anyone is added back before him, I think Nintendo knows that people will just be more upset than they were before. That's just the power of Funky Kong. Well anyways, after praising one single character, let's bully two more. Yeah, Mario Kart 7 has the weirdest roster in the series. I mean, no Waluigi? No Dry Bones? But on top of the weird cuts, there were also some weird additions, two of which have never reappeared in any Mario Kart game, and yes, that even includes Tor. First we have the single weirdest character addition in the Mario Kart series, the Honey Queen. I mean, at least Paratroopa had a reason to be in, and Rob was a cool reference. The Honey Queen is just, I don't know, here. She's this random side character in Mario Galaxy who I don't think even a single person was begging for in Mario Kart. I mean, in the main series she's ginormous, so fitting her inside of a cart feels super weird. At least when they shrunk Petey Piranha, he still got to be tall. Honey Queen is just so squished to a point where it doesn't feel right at all. I guess they included her so they could have a B-themed battle map? Man, I don't know. I'm really not looking for her to be added back again. I highly doubt Nintendo was either, considering she's not even come back for Tor. You know what? I'm gonna say it. She's less likely than Paratroopa, because at least he might be an alternate costume for Koopa. Without a single fan in sight, I think killing off Honey Queen is the best decision. Our next character is slightly less weird, but still not one that I see many people being fans of. That character is the Wiggler. Now personally, I'm tired of the Wiggler already since everyone uses that car online in Mario Kart 8, but that's a different story. If I were to guess, they may have included the Wiggler because they already had Wigglers from remaking Maple Treeway, but other than that, yeah, this is a very odd choice. They are a decently iconic Mario enemy though, so I'm not against them being here. I'm just surprised they got added before enemies like the Hammer Bro or Kamek. Unlike the Honey Queen, Wiggler's implementation was actually fairly well done. I think the way he sticks out of the car is pretty funny, so I'm overall much more on board with Wiggler eventually making a return. As I said though, they're not even in Mario Kart Tour yet, which has almost every Mario series Mario Kart character. At the very least, I do think they are more likely than Paratroopa and Honey Queen to make a return, but that's far from me saying I think he would come back if they want to add more characters. Now that's all of the characters from the mainline Mario Kart games, but that's only about a third of the total Mario Kart characters not in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There are two spin-off Mario Karts that have a lot of interesting characters on their roster, the Arcade series and Tour, which is technically mainline I guess, but no one really counts it. Let's take a look at the arcade games first because they have a much weirder roster. What's interesting about these titles is that they were developed by Bandai Namco, meaning that alongside Mario characters, a few Namco characters got a chance to race as well. There were a total of 5. We'll run through these guys fairly quickly. First off, the main man Pac-Man himself is the only one I can ever really see coming back. I mean, if they were ever to do third-party characters, he'd fit right in alongside the other Mario characters. Plus, he's one of the most famous gaming icons, so he's a natural choice for a third-party character. In fact, he is actually in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a Mii costume, but only if you use his amiibo. That being said though, yeah, I don't think he's very likely. Third-party characters have never been seen outside of these arcade games, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo would want to keep it that way. I do like Pac-Man and would certainly be excited for him to come, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon, especially as 8 DLC. Mrs. Pac-Man, being the female version of Pac-Man, is in a similar but way worse boat. Her only chance is if Pac-Man comes, and even then it's very unlikely. I mean, there are gender swaps for the Inkling and Villager, so it's not off the table, but this all relies on Pac-Man himself getting added first, and like I said, he's unlikely. The final Pac-Man character of the 5 was Blinky the Ghost. Now if it was my boy Clyde, I would say he's basically guaranteed to return, but since it's Blinky, no one cares. Easily the least likely character we've talked about so far, way worse than even Honey Queen. But that leaves us with the two non-Pac-Man Namco characters, and they're pretty weird. First off is Mamechi. Now in all honesty, I had absolutely no idea who this character was before doing research for this. From what I've seen, they appear to be a Tamagotchi, so cool, figured that out. Yeah, they're never coming back. I don't really want them back either, they just feel really out of place. Don-chan is from... Now, I did actually recognize this character beforehand, but that doesn't mean they're an iconic enough character deserving to be in Mario Kart. Unlike the Pac-Man cast, Don-chan and Mamechi feel far too weird to ever justify coming back. They're easily the least likely characters to return, and spoilers, they're not gonna get past. Cute additions for a Namco-made spin-off, but definitely not characters I'd add to the mainline series anytime soon. That brings us to our final game of the video, Mario Kart Tour. This is by far the largest and most exciting roster in the series, including banger characters like Ninja Shy Guy, Mario King, and of course, Light Blue Toad Pit Crew. Alright, so Tour may or may not have 1 or 2 filler characters, but that's because a lot of them act as alternate costumes for other characters, which is something I really want the mainline Mario Kart series to have. There are so many though that covering them each individually would take ages, so just know that it would be cool if they came into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and SNES Mario is the best one, though I'm not really sure if that can even even be counted. Other than that, Tor did bring over quite a few actual new characters, many of which are some I've been waiting for a long time now. First off, we have the Hammer Bro, who also has Boomerang, Ice, and Fire variants. Despite how annoying these guys are in the main Mario series, I've always felt like they deserve to be in Mario Kart long before this. I would definitely be happy to see them come over to 8 Deluxe. Not as much as Funky Kong, but I think they'd be a great addition. Considering they're pretty iconic, I don't think they're too unlikely either. Monty Mole, on the other hand, is a bit weaker. They're probably around the Wigglers level of popularity, making this a sort of weird choice. Not that I'm against the Monty Mole, I think he's kind of fun, I just don't see him coming to 8 Deluxe before a lot of other characters we have coming up, and even most of what we talked about before. Now we have the character from Tor that I personally want to see come to the main series the most, Pauline. Yeah, that's mostly because I may or may not like Mario Odyssey, but she definitely deserves it. Not only is she one of the original Mario characters next to Mario and Donkey Kong, but she's had a very large resurgence in popularity due to Mario Odyssey. Honestly, I think she would have been in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had it come out after Odyssey, seeing as Pauline has been included in almost every Mario spin-off since, excluding the Mario parties for some reason. For her large rise in fame, I think she might just be the most likely character to come back to 8 Deluxe as DLC, right next to Funky Kong. Everyone likes Pauline, and Nintendo clearly knows this, so I think she's got a very good chance. As for a character I don't want, Peachette. Yeah, I know I said I wouldn't cover costume characters, but she does have an entirely different icon from both Peach and Toadette, so she is sadly a unique character. We already have these two dorks, we don't need another Peach variant. Captain Toad would be cool though. He's another character that's technically not a costume, but at this point, Captain Toad and Normal Toad are pretty separate characters. Seeing as Captain Toad has his own spin-off games, I think he's got a good shot of making it into 8 Deluxe. Is he the most likely? Definitely not. I think Funky, Pauline, Diddy, and Birdo are all more likely, but I still think he's got a good chance. Oh, and I'm also just gonna say Peachette is unlikely as a cope. Okay, 4 more kind of costume characters. Dr. Mario, Dr. Luigi, Dr. Peach, and Dr. Bowser. They're included separately because they all use pills for logos instead of their normal character logos. Anyways, it's honestly a bit surprising Dr. Mario has never been in Mario Kart. He's pretty popular from both his own series and the Smash Bros. Series where he's his own character. In fact, he's the only Mario character on the Smash roster that's not in Mario Kart 8, so I think he's about as likely as Captain Toad to make a comeback. Of the two, I think Captain Toad has a slight edge since he's a bit more tied to the mainline Mario series, and Mario already has a lot of alternates, but it's close. The other 3 doctors, though, I don't really see coming. I think 1 doctor is more than enough. But if they were to add another doctor, I hope it's Fire Dr. Mario. He's awesome. Okay, that's it for the technically not costume characters. The rest of the guys we have to cover are completely original. Nabbit was a really surprising addition, but one that I really like. He's only been featured in New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U, so seeing him still get attention is kinda cool. Do I think it's likely he'll come to 8? No, sadly not, but I would be very happy if he did. Of the characters added to Tor, he's probably the most interesting addition to me. I've always liked Nabbit, so I do hope his appearance in Tor is a sign of him holding on from fading to obscurity. For a pretty iconic Mario villain though, we have King Bob-omb. I've always liked this guy, and it's cool to see him sort of making a comeback. He was never truly gone as he's made a lot of small appearances and spin-offs, but a playable Mario Kart and Mario Golf appearances of late are definitely his biggest roles. I don't think he's too likely to return in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe though, probably below Dr. Mario, but I'm not gonna write him off. He's a fan favorite boss, and while not known for being a Mario Kart character, that could definitely carry over to him making his way onto a main title. Trudge and Chuck is another Mario enemy that's had a pretty major resurgence as of late. I've always personally liked these guys, so seeing them make it into a mainline Mario title would make me pretty happy. I don't think it's very likely they would, but it also wasn't very likely that they would come back at all, so anything is possible. Dixie Kong is our final Kong of the video, and yeah, she should definitely be a Mario Kart. Of the Kongs we've talked about though, she's probably the least likely, seeing as Diddy Kong is iconic by himself, and the other 2 are closely tied to the Mario Kart franchise, but she's still got a decent chance if those other guys ever make it in. But now we've got the single most snubbed character in not only the Mario Kart series, but probably all of Mario's spin-offs. That's of course, Kamek. The story of this guy throughout the series is a bizarre one. He was planned to be added all the way back in Mario Kart 64 before he got replaced by Donkey Kong. And finally, there was some evidence to show that he was even planned for Mario Kart 8 before eventually getting scrapped as well. He is one of the most iconic secondary Mario villains, appearing in some way in several mainline Mario titles since Super Mario World, even being Bowser's parental figure as seen in Yoshi's Island. Pretty much anyone who's played a Mario game knows who this guy is, even if they don't know his name. So the fact that baby Rosalina made it into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe over him is insane to me. I am so happy Tor finally gave him a chance, but he needs to come to a mainline title already. I think he's up there with Funky and Pauline as a must-have if they plan to add more characters later. To me, he's the face of Cup Mario Kart characters, so I really hope he'll get his chance to finally race in the main series sometime soon. But anyways, that's it for this video. Are you all big Light Blue Birdo fans and hope she gets added into the next Mario Kart? Let me know in the comments. It was a lot of fun looking back on all the old Mario Kart games, so I hope you all enjoyed this video as well. I've been playing the series a lot more since the Booster Course pack dropped earlier this year, so making videos on the series has been a lot of fun for me. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time. One of the major new features in Super Mario Maker 2 was the addition of a story mode. This story mode is made up of 120 different levels showcasing many of the elements in the game and how they can be used. However, with so many levels, some are bound to be worse than others. So today, I'm going to be ranking all 120 Mario Maker 2 story mode levels from the worst to the best. Now what exactly am I going to be basing these levels off of? Well, there are two main things I'm going to be looking at, how creative they are and how fun they are. Since these story mode levels are supposed to show off what you can do in the game's editor, creativity is very important as it'll be able to help aid other creators by giving them new ideas. How fun a level is also important because, well, if I'm not having fun then I don't care how creative your level is. I'll also be reviewing a few smaller things along the way like secrets or alternate paths. Keep in mind that I won't go too in depth for every level since there are 120 of them. But with that said,